Welcome to U.S. Immigration's Coach. You know, my promise to you in every single explainer on this channel is this. By the time this lesson ends, you will know exactly what to do next. No confusion, no guessing, no wondering if you filled something out correctly. Just clear, confident, step-by-step guidance from start to finish. That is what we do here, every single day. So go ahead and settle in, have your documents ready, and let's walk through today's lesson together, one step at a time. Today, we're tackling a form that honestly causes a lot of headaches for non-U.S. individuals earning money from the United States, and that is Form W-8BEN. Whether you're a freelancer, a foreign investor, or an independent contractor, the IRS requires the specific paperwork to prove you're not a U.S. taxpayer. And as I promised, by the end of this explainer, you're going to have the total confidence to conquer this document, literally line by line, without second-guessing a single box.
So, here is our game plan for today. 1. The foundation. 2. The fork in the road. 3. The form walkthrough. And 4. The ongoing strategy. All right, let's get started. Section 1. The foundation. Okay, let's dive into this. The absolute foundation of everything we're talking about today is just understanding exactly what the W-8BEN is actually doing for you. See, the IRS taxes income earned from U.S. sources, and if you're a non-resident alien, well, they need to know exactly how to handle your payments. So this form officially certifies your foreign status to the company or the broker that's paying you. And look, if you just ignore this form, the stakes are incredibly high. Without a valid W-8BEN on file, U.S. payers are legally required to withhold a default 30% on your U.S. source income. We are talking about your hard-earned dividends, royalties, interest, and licensing income. That is almost a third of your revenue, just gone, right before the check even hits your bank account. But wait, it doesn't stop there. Say you sell securities, like company shares through a broker, and you fail to complete this form, you could be hit with what the IRS calls backup withholding. Now, this is a harsh 24% tax taken directly from the gross proceeds of your sales. And notice I said gross proceeds, not your profit, the whole amount. So this really highlights why strict compliance with this form isn't just a gentle suggestion. It is an absolute must if you want to protect your money.
Moving on to Section 2, the fork in the road. Before we even think about putting pen to paper or cursor to screen, we really need to ensure you're actually holding the right paperwork. Filling out the wrong form is easily one of the most common reasons your tax documentation will get rejected by a payer.
And this brilliantly illustrates why. Notice the structural difference here. The form W-8BEN, the one we're covering today, is strictly for individuals, independent contractors, and sole proprietors. If you are operating as a registered entity, say a limited company in the UK, a BV in the Netherlands, or a trust, you're holding the wrong form. Entities must use the form W-8BENE. Getting the structural choice right out of the gate is going to save you weeks of delays and rejected paperwork.
All right, Section 3, the form walkthrough. Now we arrive at the real core of our explainer. I want you to look at your blank document right now. I'll be your coach, guiding you line by line through the trickiest parts of this paperwork. Starting right at the top with Part 1, the identification. Line 1 requires your full legal name exactly as it appears on your official documents. Please do not use abbreviations or acronyms. For line 2, you list your country of citizenship. And here's a great pro tip for you. If you happen to be a dual citizen of 2 foreign countries, just list the country where you currently reside. Then, line 3 is your permanent residence address, and this must be the country where you claim tax residency. Actually, let me stop you right here on line 3, because honestly, this is where so many forms just completely fail. Your permanent residence must be a physical address in a foreign country. The IRS strictly prohibits using a P.O. box unless you're in a very specific jurisdiction like Kuwait or Saudi Arabia. You cannot use an in-care of address, and you absolutely cannot use a U.S. address here. If you make any of these common address errors, your form goes straight into the rejection pile. And let's face it, nobody wants a pen-pal relationship with the IRS, right? Continuing right along through Part 1, lines 5 and 6A ask for your U.S. and foreign taxpayer identification numbers. Now, a relatively new addition is line 6B. You can actually check this box if your country of residence doesn't legally require you to obtain a foreign TIN. Line 7 is just for internal reference numbers, maybe your brokerage account number. And finally, for line 8, enter your date of birth, but pay super close attention to the format here. It must be month, day, year. If you use the standard European day, month, year format, the system will absolutely flag it as an error.
Next, we drop down to Part 2, which is the claim of tax treaty benefits. Now, this is where the magic really happens. Line 9 connects your country of residence to tax treaties signed with the United States. If your country has a treaty in place, you might be eligible to lower that brutal 30% withholding rate down to a tiny fraction of that, or sometimes even 0%. If you want to dive deeper into the specific rates for your country, IRS Publication 901 is your absolute best resource for those exact treaty provisions.
Finally, Part 3 is the certification. And listen, this carries immense legal weight. You are signing under penalties of perjury. You must sign the form, clearly print your name, date it, and again, remember to use that month, day, year format, and check the box certifying you have the capacity to sign. Also, here is a critical warning straight from banking reviewers. Do not make any alterations. If you cross something out or use white out literally anywhere on this document, it renders the whole shebang totally invalid. You'll have to start over. Let's move to Section 4, the ongoing strategy. Let's see how this all builds, because simply filling out the form is really only half the battle. What happens after you mail or submit this document electronically is just as crucial for protecting your income. See, the W-8BEN is not a permanent, forever document. It's got a built-in expiration clock based on a very strict 3-year validity rule. The timeline starts on the date you sign it, and it ends on the last day of the third succeeding calendar year. So visually mapping this out for you, let's say you sign the form anytime in 2026. It's going to remain valid through 2027, 2028, and 2029, finally expiring on December 31st, 2029. On January 1st, 2030, your paperwork goes completely stale and you must recertify. But keep in mind that 3-year timeline, that's a ceiling, not a guarantee. As this IRS seal really underscores, there is a very strict rule regarding what they call a change in circumstances. If your situation changes in a way that makes literally any information on your current form incorrect, the IRS demands that you notify the withholding agent or payer within 30 days and file a completely new form. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the specific triggers for a change in circumstances. The IRS explicitly calls out moving your permanent address to the United States or officially becoming a U.S. citizen or resident alien. Either of these events immediately kills the validity of your existing W-8BEN. The burden of action is entirely on you to update your paperwork before your next payment comes through. So, I leave you with this provocative thought. Are you leaving your hard-earned income unprotected right now by ignoring your form's expiration date? Compliance isn't just about following the rules. It's about making sure you actually keep the money you earn. So I highly encourage you to go review your own tax documents right now, verify those expiration dates, and just make absolutely sure your current circumstances match what is on file. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and be sure to follow the channel for more clear, confident, step-by-step guidance.